remember I asked my oncologist and I was like, am I going to die? I never thought I'd be asking someone that. And she responded, she went, there is still some treatment options, like there is quite a few left. But she went, yeah, people can go on to maybe pass away. It was scary because she also said you have to have a stem cell transplant, and obviously there's huge risks with that as well. It wasn't necessarily, I guess, the cancer, it was a treatment that could have also killed me. And then it was weird because I went from having so much intense chemotherapy and a whole stem cell transplant, and then going home and kind of my life getting better and better and better every day. And I was like, I don't know how I've just gone from that to this.
Hello and welcome to the Thrive Against Cancer podcast, where we give a voice to the cancer community. My name is Toby Freeman, founder and CEO of the Robin Cancer Trust, cancer advocate and your host. Every episode, we will be hosting open and honest conversations with people affected by cancer, whether personally, as a family member, clinician, or charities and organisations. We will be talking to the cancer community about the cancer community and all the things that are important to you. Our guest today is a 2-time Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor who is passionate about advocating for life after cancer and talking openly and honestly about her mental health. Our guest today is Molly Hunt. Molly, thank you so much for being here on your first podcast.
I know, it's scary.
You're in control of it and we're here to just hear your story. So where we start with all the other guests is basically just take us all the way back before you were diagnosed, what you were experiencing and what led up to that diagnosis.
Well, I was at uni. It was 2022. I was studying geography at Nottingham Trent. And I was going out drinking a lot and I started to get like these weird little pains in just underneath my rib cage. And like this was like every time I had a drink. And I went home just for like a few weeks for a break, and I was on FaceTime with my best friend, and like here I had like a massive swell come up, like a golf ball.
Oh, wow. Like
bigger than like a golf ball, like a tennis ball. And from that moment I knew like that's not right, that's not normal. So I was struggling with fatigue as well, and I was a bit itchy, like I'm a bit of a hypochondriac. That's the right word. Hypochondriac. Yeah. I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, and I've always suffered with health anxiety because my mum suffers with it. So I've always been very checking all the time. Yeah. And yeah, so from that moment I knew something was wrong. So I went to the doctors and they kind of just was like, it's anxiety, it's nothing to be worried about, because it then went down and then just kind of formed into like a grape-sized hard lump. And they said it's anxiety. And then I went back 2 weeks later and they were like, just swollen lymph nodes. And then I went back and I was like, can you just refer me to someone, because I know something's not right. And the doctor took me seriously and she put me on the 2-week wait referral for cancer. And I went to go see an ENT at the hospital, and they put a camera down my throat and everything, and they said, oh, it's nothing to be worried about, but we can send you to get an ultrasound if that's what would put your mind at ease. But they were like, you don't need to. So I went and did that, and then in the meantime my blood test results came back and it showed that I had glandular fever in the previous months.
Right.
So they were all like, oh, it's just side effects from glandular fever.
Yeah, that's like chronic fatigue, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of illnesses in your system.
Because at uni I was really ill and I didn't know what it was.
Fresh as flu.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was I've gone too hard or something like that's happened.
We've all done it. Yeah.
And everybody had it, like all, because I lived with 5 other girls and we were all ill at the same time. Yeah. Like bedbound, like nobody could get out. And yeah, so then I kind of thought, oh, it's just glandular fever. But I still wanted to do the ultrasound because I kind of just felt and knew something wasn't. I was like, just want to double check. So yeah, I went for the ultrasound in the May time, and from that moment on, the doctors who did the scan, they started asking, like, are you having itchiness, night sweats, fatigue? And then I started panicking, and I was like, oh God, that's not good. Because I did my research, and I was like, it's either if it is cancer, I was like, it's going to be Hodgkin's lymphoma or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they were like, we would be comfortable if you would do a biopsy like right now. So I kind of was like, nope, not doing it. There's no way. Because I knew what it consisted of, like a needle and all that. And I was like, no. And I had a fear of needles as well, but I soon got over that.
Well,
soon got over that. But I had a biopsy there and then, and I wasn't going to have it. But my dad was very much like, no, you've got to have it. Otherwise, you could be waiting weeks to get an appointment to have one.
Was your dad with you?
Yeah.
So you're worried. I don't know if that was a local uni to you or...
Well, this is when I came back home.
When you came back,
yeah,
right.
When I came back home, yeah. And Dad was outside when I was having my scan, and then they called him in. And then I think my dad knew from then on too that it wasn't going to be good. And they had found other lumps as well, which I couldn't feel. And the lump here, I think it has to be over 3 centimetres for them to biopsy on it.
Right.
And it was. So that's why they were concerned. And I had Thailand booked and Tenerife, like, in the upcoming month. So I was like, I'll just do it after. I don't want to face anything right now. But my dad made me get it. And then it took 7 weeks for the biopsy to come back, which is crazy because it turns out it was cancer.
That's so long as well.
I
And
know.
did you, at that point, did you think, okay, it probably is because, we've had this serious chat, they've biopsied me immediately, I've Googled it.
I just drowned myself out at work because I was working at Champneys at the time, which is like a health spa resort, as a waitress. And every day on my break, I would go and call up my GP and be like, is there any news yet? Any news?
Did you get any free spas or anything to relax you during this time? Or any?
Yeah, I did use the spas.
Nice.
Yeah, my parents are members there, so I was like, I'm taking full advantage of that to calm my nerves.
Well deserved.
But yeah, and then one day after work, I went home, and my dad was like, do you mind coming in the lounge? Because we've had a letter through and it's not great. Because I said, if any letters come through or anything, just open it.
Right, okay.
Because,
Yeah.
And then, my mum was round as well. So I was like, well, that's not good news because they're divorced. And I was like, that's not good news.
This is the family version of being pulled into the side room, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, great. But because I'd done my research on all the different like lymphomas it could be, I kind of, in a way, wanted it to be Hodgkin's lymphoma because it's no cancer's good, but that is supposed to be the most curable one. And well, in the letter it said it could be a lymphoma, like it was very vague. And then I went to my oncologist. She said it's Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then within the next week I had a PET scan, which isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Actually, a PET scan.
Talk us through a PET scan, because I've never had a PET scan. I just think someone listening might go, oh, how does a PET scan work?
It's like in that big, it's like an MRI kind of tunnel, but the ending is, it's not like enclosed. So like your head does go out the back, so it's not as claustrophobic as an MRI. But so it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be, because I know a lot of people get a bit anxious with MRIs and stuff.
Yes.
And that's what I thought it was going to be like, but it wasn't. And they kind of put this radioactive like gel liquid in the cannula.
Yeah.
And then nobody's allowed to come near you for like an hour and a half. And then you go into the machine, the big machine, and it's like a 45-minute thing. And you're kind of lying down and your body like slowly goes up. So it's scanning like every bit of it.
Oh, wow.
And then there's this really weird bit where it makes you feel like you've wet yourself. The dye.
I've heard this. You get this really warm feeling.
That was the worst
yes.
bit. Because I was like, oh, that's very weird. But that was the worst bit. But yeah, PET scans aren't obviously it's not nice because you're testing and seeing what stage your cancer is, but it's nothing to be worried about in terms of actually having the scan.
So did you find out your staging from that PET scan then?
Yeah.
Right.
And
what was the...
Stage 2, which could have been worse. It could have been stage 4, but it's lucky that I caught it early.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking how much advocating you had to do for your own health.
I know.
Just going back, you said you had health anxiety. That might have saved your life.
I know.
Because you constantly going back and going, I want that. It's the ultrasound that really kicked this off as that was sort of a throwaway. You're clearly anxious if you want an ultrasound. And that's a scary state to be in, really, isn't it?
That's what my dad says. My dad says your health anxiety kind of saved your life in a way. But it's obviously not nice to live with health anxiety, but...
It's a double-edged sword, though, sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that you're young, you're fit, you're healthy, you're at university, you probably just got freshers flu, and then it's, oh no, we've actually found something, you got stage 2.
Yeah, I think it stemmed from my uncle had leukemia. He's all good, he's fine now though, but I think it kind of stemmed from that because I was very checking for lumps ever since then. And
because it is a fine line between health anxiety and... you say health anxiety, and I sort of hear, well, you're conscious of your family history, which is something we advocate for. Yeah. Because I don't want you to live with this constant have I, haven't I, but you are more acutely aware of what's going on and what's going. Did you have night sweats as well? Because I know they asked that, don't they? And you said...
I didn't have night sweats the first time, but then when I got re-diagnosed, I had night sweats.
Right.
And that's how I kind of knew it came back.
Yeah. Because that's a major red flag.
Yeah, that's a major red flag, yeah.
So let's go, sorry, I derailed us slightly. Let's go back to you've just been diagnosed. I mean, is it also, interesting that you got a letter before you spoke to an oncologist? Because you would think this sort of news should be broken in person, not...
Yeah, I can't remember what the letter said word for word, but it was very vague. But I knew I had cancer, but I didn't know what type of cancer it was. So then for that 24 hours, everyone's minds were just what
is it? How bad is it?
Yeah.
And we've waited 7 weeks for this news. Yeah.
And it sounds bad, but I was almost praying for it to, because I knew it was a cancer, I was praying for it to be Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is crazy that I was praying for it to be a certain type of cancer.
Yes.
In a way. But
yeah, that's a really odd thing to reflect back on.
Yeah.
So PET scan, stage 2 diagnosis. Do you mind me asking, how old were you at this point?
I was 20.
20, that's
I think,
big
21.
news for 20, 21.
Yeah.
How did you take that in? How were your family, your friends?
I think I knew I'd be okay. My family knew I'd be okay, and my friends were very supportive. I did lose some friends on the way because I guess people can't deal maybe with it, which is fair enough and fine. I guess everybody deals with it in different ways, but everybody took it quite well and everybody was strong and they got me through it, and I rekindled friendships with people from the past as well.
That's nice,
with people who stepped up and wanted to be there, which is lovely. But I think it was more of a struggle when it came back, that everybody was a bit like, where do we go from here?
What was the first set of treatment that you had?
It was called ABVD, so it's a chemotherapy, and I was supposed to have 12 lots of it, so 12 rounds, and it was every 2 weeks. But I got into remission quick, so I only ended up having 6 rounds of it. But there was a few, I remember my oncologist saying there was a few brown dots on the PET scan. She was like, but it's nothing to be worried about. But then, so I got in remission, I think in the August, and then by the November, I felt another lump in the same place, and I was like, right, she's back, she's come back.
That's not a lot of, that's not a lot of time to go through the whole thing, start processing what you've been through into, I found a lump again.
Yeah, and then end of December, it grew a bit, because I thought, could just be a swollen lymph node. I have just gone through chemo. I'm going to pick up things. And And then in January, I got re-diagnosed again.
And how was, I don't know how to phrase this, but how was that? Like when you were told again, this has come back?
It was scary. I think it hit me a lot more, but I was a lot more positive the second time round than the first time round. I think because the first time round, I kind of knew I was going to be fine because there was a lot of treatment options.
Right.
But then the second time round, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not having this. I'm going to just try and smash it out of the park and be positive. Because the first time round, I got really depressed. I think maybe all the steroids I was on and the medication made me really depressed and suicidal to a certain extent. And I was really, really bad. So I think the second time round for me, weirdly, was a lot better than the first time round. But, yeah.
Do you mind if we dive into that a little bit?
Cool.
That the mental health side. Have you looked back and understood or reflected on what the triggers were for that? You said obviously steroids was that just like steroids, a lot of weight gain. Did you lose your hair and things like that?
I didn't on my first round of treatment, but when I had my stem cell transplant, I did. But it's still, I lost majority of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was to do with the medications I was on. I felt like really fidgety, like I couldn't sit still. And I know Zoe had similar. She went into a bit of a deep, dark place. And it was this anti-sickness I was on called Meta something, I can't remember. But it made me really, really bad and really, I couldn't move out of bed. So I got counselling, but that still didn't help. I think I was so set in my own head and everything. But I got out of it when I got cancer-free. But
it's not something that's talked about too much. This, you're getting a complete cocktail of different drugs with the ultimate goal of saving you, obviously. All your medical team always doing the right thing by you. But we've all got unique chemical balances in our brain as well. And those things can have a major impact on your recovery and, health during treatment as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something that needs to be talked about a lot more.
I think for people going through it now, I think if something doesn't feel right, like there's so many other medications you can take, like alternatives. Like that anti-sickness didn't work for me and I went on another one and I did start to feel a little bit better. But it is crazy how medications can really alter your how you think and how you feel. Like I was that was the deepest, darkest place I think I was in the whole time.
And that takes a lot. It takes a lot to be able to be in that place and ask for a different medication.
Yeah.
When you're in that place, you're not really reflecting, I suppose, on what might be causing this. You're just feeling the impact of it, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's something we definitely need to work on and talk about. Certainly from an organisation standpoint.
Yeah.
What point did you feel that turning around? Was it when you were put in, told you were in remission, did that, and that, you started taking less?
Yeah. I think when I started to kind of come off all the medication, because when I went in for my first round of chemo, I had like a huge bag just full of medication that I kind of left for my parents to sort out. But I was taking like 10 pills a day for completely different things. And I think it all just got a bit too much for my body. Obviously, I had to take them because obviously chemo can affect your liver and all of this, so you've got to protect them. But I think when I got into remission, my brain did start to be like, okay, let's get back on track. But at the same time, I had a weird feeling that it would come back. I was very in tune with my own body, I think, in the whole process. And when I did hit remission, I was like happy. I was happy, but I knew it wasn't over in a weird way. Yeah,
that's a really difficult thing because I suppose everyone's expecting you to be joyous and everyone around you is really joyous, but you're almost just waiting for the cliff edge or whatever analogy to use.
Yeah, but now it's like, I know it's not going to come back. and I'm very like in a very, very positive mindset about it, which is weird because before it came back, I knew it was going to come back, which is weird.
No, not at all. It sounds like from beginning of this all the way through, like you say, very in tune with your own health and what's going on. So when it came back, what you said there were less treatment options available. What were you told at that point?
I remember I asked my oncologist and I was like, am I going to die? Because there's a lot of treatment options, but obviously I was starting to go through them a bit now. And
that's a huge question to have to ask someone, isn't it?
Yeah. And I never thought I'd be asking someone that in my life, ever, especially at such a young age as well. She responded, she went, there is still some treatment options, like there is quite a few left, but she went, yeah, people can go on to maybe pass away, but I kind of knew that I was going to be fine. But it was scary because she also said you have to have a stem cell transplant, and obviously there's huge risks with that as well. So it wasn't necessarily, I guess, the cancer, it was a treatment that could have also killed me as well.
Yeah. So the stem cell transplant, just for, I guess, people listening or watching, is basically replacing your bone marrow with someone, a donor's, to reset your entire system, isn't it?
I think that's an autoglass one. I can't remember what it was called, my one, but I used my own stem cells.
Oh, you used your own stem cells?
Yeah.
Oh, so they harvested yours, took them out, and then basically give you a clean slate of your own stem cells.
Yeah, but if my cancer was to ever come back, I would have to have a donor
stem
cell.
Okay.
But this time, I used my own stem cells.
Medicine is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
So did you have any more chemotherapy or anything on top of that?
I had GDP. So when it came back, I had GDP and I had a PET scan and it showed that worked, but not great. So they didn't want to carry on with it. Right. And then I had an immunotherapy called pembrolizumab or something. And that got me into remission really quick. And then I had my stem cell to really close the book on it. And I had to have 5 days straight of chemo. So I was admitted to hospital for like 2-3 weeks. And it was hard, but I got to decorate my room and make it all nice and cozy and homely. And my parents and my sister and my brother all came. But yeah, I had to have 5 days straight of chemotherapy. And then I got my stem cells put back into me on day 0. And then it kind of engrafts in your body. And when your neutrophils come up, I kind of was allowed to go home.
But were you in isolation then for those 5 days? Because obviously you've got no immune system at that point. Yeah,
I mean, my parents still came in, but they had to wear masks and everything like that. But it was a very weird time. But I felt very loved and very supported by my family and the nurses and everyone there. So I couldn't have asked for more. Yeah, it was good.
And has that been the last treatment you've had?
And then it was weird because I went from having so much intense chemotherapy and a whole stem cell transplant, and to then going home and kind of my life getting better and better and better every day. And I was like, I don't know how I've just gone from that to this. Like, it was so... Yeah. And it went by really, really quick as well, like my recovery. And I have a lot of people on like TikTok and Instagram pop up to me and they're like, I'm about to have a stem cell transplant, but I'm worried that it's going to take forever for recovery and for me to feel normal again. It took me literally like 3 months.
It's amazing, isn't it? You literally rebuilt your body from the inside out in that time.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing to go through. At what point, because that's so much to go through with the first lot and that happening so quickly, halfway through and being told I'm in remission, that's great. And then, cancer's back and we've tried this, that's not working, through to stem cell with intense chemo and then you're done.
Yeah.
Right, you're better.
Yeah, it's so weird.
When does that hit you? Like, of wow, what have I just been through? Was there a point where that hit you as in like, oh my goodness, I've just been through a lot at a young age?
I think I was in such fight or flight the whole time. And even coming out of stem cell, I was in fight or flight. And my anxiety was so bad. So I kind of was like, I couldn't even leave the house. My anxiety was so bad. Unless somebody was with me, like my mum, my dad, my best friend. I just couldn't leave the house. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to book a flight to Australia and travel on my own. And then it wasn't until I was in Australia and I was sat on the beach and I was like, how am I here when I was in like having cancer like a year and a half ago? And I think that's when it hit me. And it was quite an emotional trip because I think, this is when it's bittersweet because obviously it's not nice to be reminded of it, but it made me appreciate a lot more on the trip.
I bet. How do you go from not being able to leave the house to booking a flight? Was that just like I'm gonna swear, fuck it moment?
It was a fuck it moment. I kind of was like, I'm 20, how old was I at the time? 22. And I was like, I'm not gonna be like, if I don't do something now, I'm gonna be like this the rest of my life. And I didn't really want the cancer to win kind of thing because, just
not being able to leave your house, needing to be in a safe space is mentally, I can understand that. I haven't beaten cancer yet because it still got me. And I think I didn't want to leave the house as well because I was so scared that something was going to happen to me. And when you're going through cancer treatment, because your neutrophils drop, so then you're so prone to getting like sepsis, even from like a tiny cut. 3 times a day I would be taking my temperature and like my oxygen levels, and it got so unhealthy that I just had to get myself out of these bad habits, I think. And I was like, if I just leave everything behind, put myself in the deep end, I have no choice because everybody at home will be asleep. It's not like they can just get on the flight and come and help me. Like I kind of had to put myself in the deep end and sort myself out. I think that's absolutely incredible. I think that's an absolute boss move. Just in my head, you did it in the middle of the night as well. One night you just packed a bag and went to Heathrow, but I'm sure it was family wake up like, where's Molly?
Where's Molly gone?
That's amazing. What did you get up to in Australia? What was this? Sounds like an absolute list. Like I don't know whether it's a bucket list or a fuck it list. It's one of those.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah. What was on the agenda for?
Well, I did 3 months of travelling. So I started in Sydney and then made my way up to Cairns, Cairns, and I did it all on my own. I met amazing people on the way, and I think it really healed me as well. And I've come back a lot more independent. Like I don't depend on my mum anymore, or like my dad or my stepmom. I kind of just go about how I want to do things now, and I don't let anxiety take over.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. It's feels like it sounds really, really empowering as a experience. Yeah. Because being young with cancer, like. You're a young adult, right? I watched my brother similar. He was a bit older, but similar age. Yeah. You're still in that mum and dad look after you. Yeah. Like, and they want to, right? Yeah. You're always their babies. I'm sure that even at my age, they still want to baby me sometimes. But it's, sometimes it feels a bit out. I can understand how going through that treatment, it's felt like mum and dad are very much looking after you. Yeah. And this is that growth coming out of that empowering, taking ownership. Yeah. And how's your health anxiety now? Do you feel in tune but not anxious, or? I'm
still in tune with my own body, but if I get like a slight pain or anything, I'm still like, oh my gosh, what was that? But I don't let it kind of almost paralyze me and put me in bed before. And if I felt a pain or if I felt a tiny little weird thing, that'd be it. Like I'd be in bed the whole day, just in darkness, thinking about what it could be and not wanting to kind of face the music. But now I'm like, it's nothing. And even if I think it is, and I'll just go to my oncologist and get it checked, and then puts my mind at ease.
It's that action, isn't it? Action.
Yeah, you've got to take action.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Because, we hear it all the time, and it's one of the biggest things people talk, it's anxiety, right?
Oh, yeah, that's worse.
How do you get over cancer when you're being constantly reminded that you've had cancer? So I think, how do you find those milestones as they come up? How often are you being scanned?
I haven't been scanned in a long time now, and I don't think I'll get scanned again unless I'm concerned or my oncologist is concerned.
Yeah.
But I get discharged from my oncologist in September, I think, which is fun. So I don't need to go back for like 3-month checkups and all that. So it'll be nice. I think when those appointments come around, because right now I think I'm having them every 3-4 months, I do get anxious. And like the week before, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can feel a lump, even though I can't. My mind kind of goes into overdrive. And then I feel like I'm being such a bitch to all my family. I'm like, I can't even talk to anyone. And I kind of go into like this little pit. And then after, I'm like a new person. So it'll be nice to not have them. But I'll always go to the doctors if I'm worried or if something was to develop again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's one thing... when we had our pre-call chat that you wanted to talk about, which was relationships.
Yeah.
And we didn't touch on that through your story thus far. Is that something you want to dive into?
Yeah, a little bit. I think a lot of my relationships suffered through having cancer, and I think I really struggled because some of my closest friends who I've known since I was so young, for some reason, just couldn't deal with it and weren't there for me. And I was in a relationship at the time, and I'm in a new relationship now, but the one at the time, he couldn't deal with it either. So he kind of left when I was going through like IVF and everything. And so it was hard, and I think it's not spoken about enough because I've met so many girls along the way and they're like, my best friend just can't deal with it, or my fiance or my boyfriend can't deal with it. So I think it's hard. It's a hard one to grasp when people leave you when you're in your darkest moments, because I could never figure out why, and I still can't figure out why.
Oh, that was going to be my question. Have you, in those conversations, has it come up like, is there... Why do people cancer ghost, I suppose, is the question.
Yeah. I guess maybe some people just can't maybe deal with it. And I guess everybody deals with it in different ways. But, I mean, it wasn't nice at the time, but it's made me a lot stronger, I think. And it's made me be able to deal with situations like that. But, yeah, I think the amount of people that I've had speak to me about it, people who have cancer... that people, like their fiancés and everyone, have just kind of left them is crazy, I think. Crazy.
Absolutely. And I think, obviously romantic relationships are different from the friendship relationships. But, on the friendship side, it's sort of a... I don't know how to say this. I've used this phrase already, but double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you do find out who your absolute people are. The people that stick, or the people that come back into your life, as you said, like is a beautiful thing. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And then a romantic relationship is, a different kettle of fish. Obviously, that's.
But I think it is bittersweet again, because obviously it's not nice to see one of your closest friends go and things like that. But then it makes you realise, these are my true friends. These are the people that have stuck around. These are people that want to be in my life and want to help me. So it's made my friendships with my friends so much stronger. And I don't think we could be any more close if we tried now, I think. Because it's a big thing for them to go through as well, I guess. It was a lot of strain on them and things like that. So, yeah, I'm very grateful.
It's a real growing experience, isn't it? Because you're, as a friend or a loved one, going support, that's putting that effort of support in, you are going, I'm going to be a caregiver to that person in those moments, not necessarily all the time, but but you are choosing to go, this is a priority in my life. And I think that is a natural part of growing up. You end up doing that, being maternal, paternal, or however you want to phrase it to people and things. It's certainly something. I saw something on Instagram, which was I can't remember the charity, otherwise I would definitely shout them out. I'd done a piece of work about why people cancer ghost. Can't remember, it was Carousel. I'm trying to remember all the slides. One of them was I just don't know what to say. That's mad. Like, just say anything.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, I think people get stuck on that text or that call, or another one was don't want to disturb the person. Well, you're like, but there's methods, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a way to go about it.
A text or a letter, if you want to kick it really old school, like an email. You can, the amount of text you can send saying, I do not expect to reply, but I'm thinking of you, means the world to the person sitting in a hospital bed. Like, maybe cancer patients throwing up, pooping themselves, whatever, like just miserable, watching daytime TV. But you can look at that and think, thank you. Like, that's going to bring a little bit of joy to your world.
It lets you know that they're thinking of you, But
I think people get stuck on grand gestures. And I think there's a real misconception that you as a cancer patient need a grand gesture. I need to bowl into a hospital with flowers and balloons. It's not that. That's, this isn't a like rom-com or this is just real life. A text is okay. A voice note is okay. We have all of these at our disposal nowadays.
I think it's just very alien to some people, isn't it? Like, it was alien to me, really, because although my uncle went through it, I was still quite young. But I guess we all went through it when we were in our 20s. And it's all very alien. So I don't blame anyone, but it is hard. I think it is a big thing in the cancer world. Like, it happens a lot. People get ghosted all the time, which is hard, but I'm better for it anyways. I think it's made me realise who the bridesmaids will be at my wedding and my true friends are. So it's a blessing.
Does your new partner know we're talking about bridesmaids on this podcast?
He'll be like, oh God, run a million miles away.
And was there one thing we haven't talked about, which comes up quite a lot because of the world we live in now, but is social media, right? So you obviously know Zoe, who we had on the podcast a few episodes ago. Please go check it out if you haven't. Was that a big part? When did you start utilising social media? Were you already active, or was it like, I'm going to use my story? And when did you find those people?
Zoe found me, I think. I had just started up a lymphoma page on Instagram, but I was posting TikToks, but not like properly, just a few videos here and there. And I kind of just wanted a Instagram so people could come and feel a little bit safe if they'd been diagnosed, or in the future when I'm better, I wanted people to come and make it like a safe space. But I think Zoe tagged me in a post, and it was like about remission, and it was her saying that she can't wait to get there. And at that time, I think she thought I was in remission, but it was when I'd got re-diagnosed, but I just hadn't told anyone yet. But then that's how we became friends, because I was like, actually, it's just come back. And she was like, oh, no way. And then we found out we were having treatment in the same hospital. And then, you make a lot of cancer friends in the hospital you're in, and through social media. I mean, I've met incredible people through social media, and I didn't realise how strong the cancer community is as well. I mean, everyone's so there for you, and everybody kind of knows who each other is from TikTok.
That's one thing I've learned. Yes, everyone knows everyone.
And I'm like, do you know? And they're like, yeah, do you know this person? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. It's very weird, but it's very sweet as well. Like, so it's a strong community. It's nice.
Did you find that helped your mental health going through the second part, just knowing that other people were out there as well? I think this is a big thing. One of the greatest powers of social media is that sort of instant connectivity. Being around people that get it. in the social world or whatever.
It makes you feel less alone, I think, because as much as my friends and my family can try to maybe understand what I was going through, they never probably would actually 100% know the feeling. So it made me feel less alone, and seeing other people's like positive stories and the TikToks that they post and the Instagrams when I was going through treatment, it gave me hope, I think, and a lot of reassurance. Like every day if I felt anxious, I would go out of my way to find a bit of reassurance.
Bro.
Yeah. And I think that's why I also post everything about cancer on my TikTok and my Instagram, because I want people to come on a bad day that they're having through chemo and be like, she got through it, I can get through it, kind of thing. I think it helps a lot. That's what got me through a lot of it.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? That's just the power of people.
Yeah.
We have this instant access to find whatever we need in those moments.
And sometimes I do think I'm posting a lot about cancer and I'm 2 years out. But then I'm like, if it helps one person that day, if one person sees it, then that's kind of my job done. Like I feel good about myself.
100%. That's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah.
Just help one person.
Yeah.
Just more than that. That's great.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff are you posting about like 2 years on? What are the big things that are coming up for you?
I think at the minute I've just been posting about my trip in Australia, because I never thought, well, there was times where I thought I wouldn't be able to maybe go and do all of that. So I'm kind of just posting from when I was in hospital to Australia, doing it on my own. And a lot of people have popped up and been like, that's given me so much hope, and it's made me see light at the end of the tunnel, kind of, and that I'm going to get there too. So I'm kind of just plastering that all on my TikTok at the minute.
It's awesome. Because it's not about Australia, is it? It's about that empowerment and getting there and then reclaiming that part of yourself after cancer. Yeah. That's what people...
Yeah, and it's always been a dream to go travel Australia. So in my darkest times in my stem cell, all I could think about sometimes was Australia. And then I've just done it. So
that's so cool.
When I never thought I would, or sometimes I thought I wouldn't be able to.
What's the next one? Where did you go from Australia? You went literally as far away as you could.
I know. Screw it. I'm going on the other side of the world.
Is there anywhere else on the bucket list that you're like, right, I want to do this?
I do want to travel a lot. I don't know yet though, but I will hopefully next year go travelling again. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That sounds amazing. Yeah. And if we can talk about it as well, you also did something this past weekend that you've been dreaming about. Are you okay talking about that?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah, even though I didn't finish.
You got to the start line and you put everything into it. I think you should be super proud.
I did the London Marathon on Sunday. I got to mile 18 though, and then I got an injury, so I had to stop. I think normally I would have carried on, but I do just get a bit cautious about like my muscles and everything since chemo, and I didn't want to really hurt myself.
And it was like, super hot, and there was I assume you passed a lot of people in really tough states like I did. It was scary out on course seeing.
It was. I think the heat, but I was in so much pain that I couldn't carry on, but I still raised, I think it was just over £4,000.
Yes, I checked earlier. You definitely have. For
Young Lives Versus Cancer. But hopefully next year I'm going to try, fingers crossed, and do it again and actually get to the finish line.
And there were so many people that didn't get to the finish line. It was such a tough day. But
it was,
what was it like standing on the start? You're surrounded by 56,000 people.
Yeah.
You're a couple of years out. Like, was that a moment for you? I'm getting tingly just thinking of it, because I'm like, that's so cool. Did you imagine going through the stem cell when you were lying there thinking, I'm going to run 18, my body's going to be capable of running 18 miles in ridiculous heat.
I don't know. It's always been a dream of mine to do the London Marathon too. So when I was going through my stem cell, that was always on my mind. So at the start line, I kind of was getting like flashbacks to me being in hospital, and the whole time I was running, I was just crying, even when I wasn't in pain.
So that's why you were dehydrated. You were constantly running.
I was just crying the whole time. My makeup was just, I don't know why I wore makeup, but my makeup was just gone. And every time I saw a family member, I would just break down and cry. I was just very emotional. And I didn't think I would be, but...
Oh, it's an emotional day. Just seeing all the runners with the charity tops on, I was like, oh my God, they're all doing this for causes.
I know.
It was just,
and
it's amazing.
There was a girl, and I saw her on TikTok, weirdly, the other day, actually, who was running by me, and she had no hair, and she was running for a cancer charity. And it kind of just reminded me of myself when I was going through it. And I saw her on TikTok the other day, and she is going through cancer and everything.
Wow.
But I think that's why I was getting so emotional as well, because sometimes I was running like right by her, and I was like, oh my God, that like it just reminded me of me.
Yes.
Like a few years ago. And I think that's what made me really emotional, I think. But
it's an incredible thing to do, and I just think you should be so proud of yourself. Just getting to that start line, running all that way, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Were there any because you ran for Young Lives versus Cancer, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who are absolutely amazing. We'll make sure we tag them in the episode. Did they support you during your?
Yeah, they did. They were really good. Them and Lymphoma Action were really, really good.
Yeah. That's Lymphoma Action UK, is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really, really good. And they've let me talk about my story a lot too. And they're the two charities that really helped me, I think. But yeah, Young Lives is a brilliant
They absolutely
charity.
are.
Yeah.
Did you have a support worker via them?
Yeah, his name was Mark.
Shout out Mark.
Yeah.
What did Mark
He was lovely. He helped me with like financial kind of state, and he came in one day when I was having chemo and just sat with my mum and dad and helped them out a lot. I know that they appreciated the charity a lot. And yeah, I remember I wasn't really with it that day. I kind of he was just sat there, and I was like in my own world, just not knowing what was going on.
Mark's doing his thing, he's helping.
But I know he helped my family a lot, and he would call me up like once a week and be like, how are you doing?
That's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, and it wouldn't be just like a 5-10 minute conversation. It would be like a proper lengthy kind of conversation. And they were the people that got me a counsellor too. Because when I was struggling, they were like, no, we'll help you, we'll sort it, we'll get you there. So they kind of take matters into their own hands, which is good.
It's brilliant. They're just like another safety net, aren't they?
Yeah.
And for everyone, which I think is so good as well.
Yeah.
To help your mum and dad.
Yeah.
We can't forget about the people closest to us. And was it Lymphoma Action UK, was it their literature you got handed at point of diagnosis as well? Because I know that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Telling you all about what you actually...
Yeah. I think they found my Instagram, and then they followed me and then spoke to me about doing some like raising awareness. And when I got diagnosed, I raised awareness for them. Not raised awareness, raised money for them. So yeah, they're an amazing charity too. And it's very good to look at their page when you have lymphoma, because everything's there as well.
Very comprehensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're at this point, you're 2 years out?
It will be 2 years I got in remission in July, but then my last kind of treatment was September, so July, yeah.
It's only about a year and a half, really, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's absolutely incredible. And you're still on 3 monthlies.
Yeah,
building up to that.
I've got one next week, and then I think that's my last one, or I've got one more after that.
Oh, so it's actually quite short. It's not, because usually or not usually, but often I hear people talking about 5 years, different cancers, obviously.
Yeah.
But it must be short for yours.
Yeah.
You're nearly
there.
Nearly there. That's so exciting. Amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to sort of cover in this episode that we can talk about? Anything you're really passionate? You're like, actually, I want to go on a rant about that thing.
I think maybe life after cancer. I think it isn't spoken about enough, I think. Because I think people just think it's going to be rubbish for so long because your body's so weak and maybe you can't do the things you used to do. But I think that's a myth, to be honest. I don't know why people say that, because I've done everything I wanted to and more. kind of in less than 2 years. And I think people get worried that their bodies won't recover and things, but they do, especially when you're so young. Our bodies recover quick. And I think our minds are a very powerful thing. And I think it's just mind over matter situation.
I was going to say, is there any advice you've got for what really helped you going through that? Was it visualization, or was it just putting yourself to the test and going for it?
I think just pushing myself to the limits, but obviously not
within the confines of your medical team.
Yeah, always check with your oncologist. But
disclaimer.
But definitely push yourself a little bit, because if you don't, you're just going to be stuck in, I felt like I was stuck in a cycle of anxiety, depression. But I think, sometimes you've got to throw yourself in the deep end, even if it feels a little bit out of your comfort zone and uncomfortable. And I threw myself in the deep end with Australia, and I'm a completely different person now than I was 5 months ago. So, yeah.
Amazing. Is there any other advice you've got for people that, with sort of coming out of that stage of maybe they've been told, you're back, you'll bounce back, you're young. Is there any other advice you'd like to give to them, or people supporting them, I suppose?
What, as in after cancer?
Yeah, after cancer, yeah.
I think just we have one life. And I think you should do what you want to do, and don't just settle for something you 100% don't want to do. I mean, I thought I wanted to do geography at uni. No, I really don't. I just really, really don't. I would rather do what makes me happy. And just do what makes you happy, and remember that I think it's all a mental game as well. Definitely. And I'm going to get mind over matter tattooed right here, because it is mind over matter.
Love it. Love it. What a great little segue into our 5 quickfire questions, if you're okay for those.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, what advice would you give to someone who's worried they might have cancer?
Listen to your body. I think definitely push. Because my mind was telling me all the time, it's cancer. Maybe that was my health anxiety. But I think keep pushing until you get a scan or a biopsy, to be honest, because at my ultrasound, at my ENT appointment, they were going, if you want to have an ultrasound. And I think definitely always take those opportunities and just push until you have solid, concrete answers.
That's great. Yeah. Be your own advocate always.
Yeah.
What was the most impactful thing someone did for you after you were diagnosed?
I think the way my friends really helped me through, and my family. They never did grand gestures or anything like that, but they always messaged me every day, always made sure I was there. And they were so understanding if I was ever in moods or if I didn't want to talk to them. Especially my sister. I was such a bitch to my sister the whole way through chemo. And my brother, I would take everything out on them, and they kind of just sat back and were like, we still love you, it's fine. And I think just showing the person that you love them no matter what, and just being there supporting them, and knowing that they're going to have mood swings. They might not message you back. They might take their anger out on you, but just be there no matter what, I think.
Love that. Sounds like unconditionally showing up.
Yeah.
And I can tell from being on the receiving end of a cancer patient, brother, cancer patients can be arseholes. You just have to take it on the chin. What's the worst thing someone has said to you about having cancer?
Oh, it's those cancer muggles, I think we call them, isn't it? Cancer muggles. Yeah. Oh, God, there's been a lot. The worst thing that somebody said, I think, but it's the good kind of cancer. That's what really used to annoy me, because I'm allowed to say it because I have it, and I knew that was a good kind of cancer, but I still had to go through the same process with chemotherapy. I had to go through transplant and immunotherapy, so I think that really annoyed me. And there's been some bloody awful comments on TikTok as well.
Yeah, I bet. Maybe we won't get into those, but
awful comments. But yeah, I think it's the good cancer really used to annoy me, because no cancer is good. They still all have big risks and
absolutely,
and all of that. And but you're fine now. Like after cancer, people going, but you're fine now. That's all that matters. That really annoys me, because
it's very dismissive of.
You don't know what I'm mentally going through still, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think those two annoy me the most.
Pay heed, never say them. What advice would you give to someone recently diagnosed with cancer?
I think take every day as it comes and celebrate the small wins. I think it's easy to get lost in the whole mindset and feeling like a cancer patient. But just remember, you're more than just a cancer patient. And it will all be okay, and you've just got to remember that it is all mind over matter. And I think positivity goes a long way. I think when I was going through it for the first time, I was quite negative about it, and that's why I got myself in all these holes and all these pits. And then the second time I went through it, I was so much more positive, and I still went out and lived life to the fullest. And I think it's easier said than done now. I'm on the other end of it. But you will get there, and there is life after cancer, and it can be amazing.
Love that. Lastly, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from having cancer?
The biggest lesson, I think, to do things that maybe are out of my comfort zone, and to say yes a lot more. I think I was quite an in my shell kind of person before cancer, and I would always be like, oh no, that's not a good idea. But now I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go do this. Let's do that. And I think, I just think the biggest lesson is, I don't know, everything. Everything.
I love it. It truly feels like you've embraced your life after cancer. In the most empowering way for you, and that's all that matters, right? I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for being here. First podcast, tick another thing out your comfort zone, so that's brilliant.
I mean, I've probably waffled half the way through, because it's the chemo brain is still chemo braining, I think.
It's wonderful waffle, if it is waffle at all. That's what we want. We want you just to have a platform to talk openly and honestly. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for everything you're putting out into the world. Thank you for telling us about your journey, people that have helped you, and all the insight and advice. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our amazing supporters and funders who make this podcast happen. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a review and follow us on social media at Thrive Against Cancer. And be sure to check out our other episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. If you want to help support our mission to give a voice to the cancer community, please contact us or visit our website to learn more at thriveagainstcancer.co.uk.